Yeah, let's dive in our code IDE. I think from our side, what we always going to build was a first-in-class cloud IDE that sits on the browser and can really power some of the more complex workflows than data engineers tend to perform. Aside from, of course, our left tree here, which contains all our code, the first thing you probably notice is our terminal. So terminal is something which Paradime is built on top of, which makes sure that you can run anything really you want within the Paradime shell. The first thing I want to show is how, for example, with Paradime, we support Python, which means that we can build, create Python script and run them, both from terminal, both orchestrate them, which we'll see in the next live stream. Here, for example, I have a simple poetry file, and I can run any Python command I want. So for example, what I'm going to do now is I want to run my DLT hub pipeline, which I have here. So if I go, I'll show you here. So this is my Python file, which has all the different snippets of code and standardizations I want. And as you can see now, I can actually run my Python ingestion directly from the terminal. I can test this as I keep developing my code all in one single place. Yes, we run dbt, but you can run Python, and this work makes Paradime extremely powerful. Whether that is custom script, ingestion script, you can run them all. The other thing which I'm also super excited about is around how can we interact with our file system. Often it happens that we be looking not only for a file name, but we're looking for a certain piece of text or a string, things that they are available in the best-in-class IDEs today. So what we support in Paradime is the ability to do file search, file and replace within files. So for example, let's say I want to search for all files that contains a not null test, for example. So I can easily search for these files, rather the files that contain this text. I can see here I have 2 schema files in here, and I can search, I can see all the entries that exist. I have 23 not null tests in these schema files, and I have 2 here. I can, of course, also do string manipulation. So for example, if I want to rename some of the test definitions I have, I can type test, and I can also use the files to include or exclude using regex. So for example, if I now want to include only YAML files in my search results, then I can do that pretty easily. So everything which is around updating and modifying our files in our project as fast as possible, that's available within Paradime out of the box, which is pretty awesome. The other thing around the IDE, which I'm also very excited about, it is when we look at the file, we provide everything you need in one single place for your DBT model. So the first thing we can see, I have my data explorer here. I can see my compile SQL. I can, of course, preview the data here and see what the output of that SQL looks like. We have the ability to see the lineage, which I'm going to touch upon later, how these expand, as Costa mentioned, cross-platform in different areas. And also another one, which I find pretty powerful, is having the ability to glance over our DBT documentation on the fly without having to keep switching context. Using the catalog feature within the docs panel, I can actually see the description is available, any additional information is available for this DBT model I'm looking at without having to open different files anywhere. The other things which I found pretty cool, I have to say, this is actually coming from one of the feedback we got from one of our customers very early on, is in DBT, sometimes we use CSV files, and those CSV files can be kind of like hard to read. I'm just going to go and open one here. And what is actually pretty cool is that we integrate Rainbow CSV within Paradime, means that consuming data from a CSV file, from a seed, is a lot easier. In Paradime, you can also use some of the built-in feature to align the CSV files, so they are a lot easier for us to understand what the CSV file structure looks like and read them through. So all these things are available within the Paradime interface without having to do any sort of like management or installation there. When we talk about the Paradime IDE and the terminal, one thing is that not only we can run dbt command, we can run Python, of course, but it's effectively a fully fledged interface, which means that I can even run git command if I want to. So if you're an advanced user and you want to use the terminal, you can actually do that. For example, I click git add in here and press enter. I'm now staging my files in there. And then if I do git commit, there we go, commit -m, I'll do update my CSV. I can then do this too. Anything that you want to do with Git is available within Paradime. You can use the terminal for it. But to be honest, I'm sometimes quite lazy, and I found that using Git Lite is a lot easier. When we look at the Git panel, what Paradime provides is 2 different modes. So Git Lite, which is what we showed today, and we'll go into some of the feature a bit more details. And then we also have the Git advanced view. So if you're familiar with more advanced system, you want to do things like staging, stashing, popping commits, all these sort of things that some advanced user might be more familiar with, you actually don't lose them by using Paradime. They're all available to you here